Hi, I'm Alex Howard, and I'm here with Thora from the psychology team at the clinic. So, hi Thora. And on this video, we wanted to talk a little bit about fear of disappointment. We know that a lot of people that contact the clinic tend to contact the clinic having tried a lot of different treatment approaches or apparent miracle cures or wherever else along their recovery path. And as a result, that they've developed in many ways a healthy skepticism, that they don't want to invest hope in something new that is once again going to let them down kind of physically, emotionally, but I guess also financially. They're going to invest in something that doesn't deliver results. And I should say, one of the things I'd like to say at the start is that we really do the best we can as an organisation to be really honest in all of our materials. So we don't put out 95% success rates and miracle cures and that kind of thing. We try to be really objective about what's realistic for people. But for people that perhaps you're speaking to in 15-minute chats on new patients that have got this understandable fear of being disappointed, what do you tend to say to them?
So I think this is where the 50-minute chats really come into their own, because in that slot, what people have got a chance to actually work through is what's going on for them, and also looking at potentially why some of the treatments that they've already tried haven't been as helpful as they hoped, or why the benefit has been more, has been short-lived and hasn't been able to follow through. And the fact is that because of the integral approach that we have in the clinic, we take a range of different treatment protocols and bring them together. We have a very good knowledge of the different treatments that are available out there. So we can often be quite specific about why the particular treatment didn't work for them. Because it could be that it wasn't working for them because that wasn't the right time to bring that treatment in. They needed to be at a different stage in the recovery for that particular treatment to be effective. So it's about contextualizing what's going on for people. And also, with every treatment that's being delivered, there's also some, a part of it down to the integrity of the person delivering the treatment. So there are practitioners out there who say they will, make miracles or, deliver things in a way that we don't buy into. And like, for example, like you say, we don't give out success rates. Also, people want to know, how quickly will I recover? Will I be fine by Christmas? Or, and that's another thing that we don't commit to, that because every person is different. But what I really want to look at in chats is to emphasize that although there is a risk in trying something new, there's a way of staying with that risk that feels safe. And so it's not like you're throwing money somewhere where you're not quite clear what you're going to get, which is why we do all these video blogs, which is why there are all these reports. It's about people knowing as much as possible what kind of ethos they're coming into, what kind of treatment they're coming into. And there are some situations where in a 50-minute chat it is not appropriate. The result of that chat is that it's not appropriate for the person to come into treatment, and then we refer elsewhere where we think it is more appropriate. So working with that will go a long way to, in a way, mitigate disappointment, because in a way, what we're doing is we're setting realistic expectations.
And I think it's worth saying, people watching this may thinking, what, you mean I'd have a 15-minute chat and you'd send me to a completely independent organisation? Why would you do that? And I think the thing that I always say is, well, we're more interested in really believing and knowing that we're doing the absolute best by each person we work with. And we, from a purely business point of view, we know that doing that is far more important than having an extra patient and having a bit of income from that patient. We're far more interested in doing the best that we can and helping people, because we know that by doing that, people will tell other people, and they will, that will help other people come and find what we do. And it's not in our interests to have to be trying to work with someone we don't genuinely feel we can be of service to, and we can help.
I'm really passionate about it, because generating sales that don't result in recovery and health is counterproductive for us as clinicians and our own integrity, but ultimately for the patient. And most of us, having come through ME, we have been in these shoes where we're making decisions about, should I spend money on this treatment or not? So we can relate to that experience and wanting to have as much information as possible before making that decision. So I think that's also an important part of being able to hear what people are saying and take it on board.
Well, I think also the other thing that you say, I think is really important, is that part of what we can tend to do is to explain why other things might not have worked. So someone may come in and say, well, I went on and did this treatment program, it guaranteed 95% success rate, I was apparently the only one that it didn't work for. We seem to get a lot of the only ones come to this clinic.
We do, there's quite a lot of the only ones actually.
But anyway, someone comes in from that point of view, and what we can tend to do is to say, okay, well, it sounds like the reasons why would have been this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And in a 15-minute chat, whether someone decides to invest in treatment or not, it's kind of a separate point for it. It's just really helpful to get those questions answered, to know where we stand and know where we can move forwards. Because
ultimately, when we are, going for treatment, what we want to do is we want to go for, recovery and full health. But the aspects that we want to take into account is that, is there going to be an emotional cost to me? By taking on this treatment, raising my host, maybe it'll work. What if it doesn't work? All these kind of things are quite healthy, or as is to be expected, responses to trying something new.
Yeah.
So we want to give you as much information as possible, so you can kind of have sort of a sense of you've got your feet on the ground and you know what you're letting yourself in for. But also because in a way the cost of being ill is so high. Yeah. The lack of income, whatever dietary supplement needs you have, all sorts of other, auxiliary treatments like, massage, whatever, all this costs money. Yeah. So to counterweight that with, okay, well, the treatment is likely to cost, at least start with the starting cost of whatever it is. See, can I make that decision today? And do I have enough information to make that decision today? Because ultimately, by investing in treatment, what I'm doing is I'm investing in my future financial well-being as well as my physical and emotional well-being.
Totally.
And that's regardless, by the way, whether you come to our clinic or anywhere else. It's a very genuine point to question.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the reality is the cost of being ill is often far more than the cost of investing in recovery. But the thing that I always think about it as well is that our job as an organisation is not to sell people on coming to the clinic. Our job is to provide the best information we possibly can to help people make an informed choice, and that's their choice to make. That's really how I see it.
Yeah.
But as we're kind of saying within this video, the danger is that people are so fearful of being disappointed, they don't want to hear about something. I mean, the number of people I've had say to me, God, this clinic has really changed my life, and I tell my friends with ME about it, and they say, oh no, it's like rubbish, I don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
And the thing I always encourage people to do is at least get the information. So if people are watching this video, watch other video blogs, get a free information pack, have a free 15-minute chat. It is all free, and it's free because we want you to have the information. At no point are we going to try and sell you into something. We just want you to have the information so you can make a genuinely informed choice.
And therefore mitigate, really address that fear, because then you've got the information, because fear is often in this context about absence of information and fearing the worst.
Yeah.
Whereas actually if you've got information, you've got some framework, you kind of we can make an educated decision rather than just I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
So it comes from a more solid place.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you, Thora. And we hope that's been useful. And as we're saying, if you haven't already, please do get a free information pack. Watch more of these videos and book a free 15-minute chat. It's a great way just to get information.